Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a pivotal moment in history that reshaped a nation and influenced the world. The 17th century English Revolution. It's a story of kings, parliament, power, and the birth of new ideas. So, grab your popcorn, and let's travel back in time. Our story begins in the early 1600s with the Stuart dynasty. After Queen Elizabeth I, James I of Scotland took the English throne, uniting the crowns. James, and later his son Charles I, were big believers in the divine right of kings. This meant they believed their authority came directly from God, and they weren't accountable to anyone on earth, especially not Parliament. As you can imagine, this didn't sit well with the members of Parliament, who saw themselves as the representatives of the people, with a crucial role in governing, particularly when it came to raising taxes. The tension started to simmer. Charles needed money, a lot of it, for his foreign wars and extravagant court, but Parliament refused to grant him funds without some concessions of power. Frustrated, Charles decided to rule without them for 11 years, a period known as the personal rule or the 11 Years' Tyranny. He raised money through old, unpopular methods, like shit money, which further angered the public, especially the rising merchant class. Debori and Belande Chintry. Religious conflict was also a huge part of this story. Charles, with his Archbishop William Laud, tried to impose a more formal, ritualistic style of worship on the Church of England, which many Protestants, especially the Puritans, saw as a step back towards Catholicism. When they tried to force a new prayer book on Scotland, the Scots rebelled. To fight this war, Charles was finally forced to recall Parliament in 1640. Desperate for money, this Long Parliament, as it came to be known, was not in a cooperative mood. Led by figures like John Pym, they passed laws to curb the king's power, and even had some of his key ministers arrested and executed. The standoff between king and Parliament grew more and more hostile. In 1642, Charles made a fatal move. He marched into the House of Commons with soldiers to arrest 5 of his leading critics. They had already escaped, but the damage was done. This was seen as an unprecedented attack on the privileges of Parliament. The trust was completely broken. Wittenmont's England was plunged into a brutal civil war. On one side were the Royalists or Cavaliers, who supported the king. On the other were the Parliamentarians, or Roundheads, who fought for the rights of Parliament. The early years of the war were a stalemate, but then a new figure emerged on the parliamentarian side. Oliver Cromwell. He was a brilliant military commander who created the new model army, a professional, well-trained, and highly disciplined force, driven by Puritan religious fervor. Under Cromwell's leadership, the tide turned. The new model army won decisive victories at Marston Moor and Naseby. By 1646, Charles I was defeated and captured, but at Benton, the story wasn't over. The king refused to accept defeat and tried to play his enemies off against each other, even sparking a second civil war from his captivity. For Cromwell and the army leaders, this was the final straw. They concluded that there could be no lasting peace as long as Charles was alive. In a move that shocked all of Europe, Parliament set up a high court to try the king for treason. In January 1649, Charles I was found guilty and executed. England was declared a republic, or a commonwealth. For the next decade, England was ruled without a monarch, first by Parliament and then by Oliver Cromwell as Lord Protector, essentially a military dictator. Cromwell's rule was efficient, but strict and unpopular with many. After his death in 1658, his son Richard proved unable to hold on to power. The Republic crumbled. By 1660, the country was so tired of instability and Puritan rule that it welcomed back the executed king's son. Charles II was restored to the throne, an event known as the Restoration. So, did the revolution fail? Not at all. Although the monarchy was back, it was a changed monarchy. The idea of the divine right of kings was dead and buried. Parliament had established its authority and would never again be sidelined as it had been. The seeds of constitutional monarchy, where the monarch's power is limited by law and Parliament, were firmly planted. This glorious revolution of 1688 which happened a few decades later, would cement these principles without the bloodshed of the Civil War. The English Revolution was a complex and messy affair, but it was a crucial step on the path to modern democracy. It established the principle that a ruler could not govern without the consent of the people's representatives. It was a turning point that profoundly shaped the future of Britain and inspired political thinkers and revolutionaries across the world, including the founding fathers of the United States. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this journey into 17th century England as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. See you next time.